For years, we have waited. For years, we have suffered. Scorned by countless factions across the galaxy and ridiculed by unworthy onlookers. But now, brothers, now we rise. The time of chaos has come. As the Eye of Terror opens, the War Master's legions are finally unleashed, and his battle cry is heard as the galaxy burns.
It's Chaos Space Marines, baby! Welcome back, everybody, to Tabletop Tactics. You join me, Chaos Lord Beard! Woo! And my esteemed colleague,
Acolyte Chef.
the Acolyte Chef.
Yep.
And today is the day.
It's an auspicious one.
We've been waiting a long time.
A long war, you might say.
The veterans of the Long War have finally come to the Day of Ascension.
Yes.
That's the Gene Caesar calls.
I think
It's Chaos Space Marines. It's finally happened. It's finally happened. I'm so happy.
yes.
This is it. It's here.
Also, yes. Okay. There's a few things that will get out of the way. One, how about the artwork though?
Oh my good grief. The artwork on the cover is fantastic. It's so good. The artwork in here as well is mind-blowing. There's a depiction of an Iron Warrior.
It's literally you.
It made me weep. It's absolutely wonderful. The artwork's amazing. It's a hefty boy.
How many pages is it, just out of interest?
It's a big tome. I'll tell you for free right now. I won't charge you a penny. 181 pages.
Slightly smaller than Space Marines,
Yeah.
because of course it is.
But there's about 1 billion units in there.
Yeah, that's true. Space Marines have 100 data sheets. You've
Yeah.
got, lots of cool stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
The second thing that I want to address is look at this nonsense.
Yeah.
It's so big.
The data card brick.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. It's because all your legions are inside here.
They are
all
indeed.
Your stratagems are inside
Everything's
there.
here.
It's wonderful.
So yes, Chaos Space Marines came out in 2017, the last book. I don't acknowledge Chaos Space Marines 2 as ever existing.
It wasn't a real book.
It wasn't a real book. So we've been waiting 5 years for this book, and it's finally here. And Chaos Space Marine fans, let me tell you this, it's a good time.
Yeah, you're going to have a good time.
It's a fantastic book, which we'll go into some detail in just a moment. This is also Chaos Week for Tabletop Tactics. We are having a Chaos Bonanza this week. Obviously you're watching this video, which is the top changes for this book. You've got the first battle report, which is out now as well. Over and on demand, you've also got the top units and combos, which is available on there. You've also got Chef's articles covering this book in great detail.
Want it all, it's there.
Exactly, in the guide. We also have an in-depth look of every single legion in this book as well. So we've got a special video for all of the legions. We delve into all of the detail in there.
They deserve it.
They do deserve it.
They deserve it.
They got a glow up, they can have their own video.
Yeah.
And on top of that, if that wasn't enough, every single weekday this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there's going to be a painting tutorial from Fletcher over and on demand where it shows you how to paint all the legions to make your new Chaos Space Marine units look absolutely bellissimo. It's like Shark Week, but it's chaos, baby!
Can you imagine a chaos shark?
Spawn
shark!
It's in here. Spoiler alert, there's not actually a chaos shark.
Oh man, can you imagine?
Maybe in the next 5 years.
So thank you Games Workshop for sending us all this cool stuff for review and for doing videos on for you lovely lot. So if you have not done so already, send us the love by giving us a like, a subscribe and a comment below if you have not done so already. But without further ado, let's talk about some of the big old changes in this big old tome of nastiness.
And lo, we will begin the telling of the tale with the detachment abilities for Codex Chaos Space Marines. So in here you've got what you would normally expect, what we've come to expect with 9th edition codexes, but for the Chaos Legions themselves. So in here we've got a couple of rules. 3 in fact. You've got Champions of Chaos, you have Mere Mortals, and you also have the Legion traits. I love those Legion traits.
Yes.
So Champion of Chaos basically means that per Chaos Space Marines detachment, you can have 1 Demon Prince, you can have 1 Dark Commune, which is a new unit, excellent models, and you can't have more, and that's it. Yeah, per
Demon
detachment.
Prince, Chaos Lord, and Dark Commune.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're not a mutually exclusive thing. It's not like, oh, if you've got Demon Prince, you can't take a Chaos Lord. It's just 1 per each of each detachment. That's pretty standard.
Yes.
Like to most of the 9th edition codexes, fine.
Yeah, and they're very jealous, the old Chaos Space Marines. There's not going to be 2 Chaos Lords rocking about. There's not going to be 2 Demon Princes.
No. The fact that a Demon Prince and a Chaos Lord are working together should make you very scared.
I'm very skeptical about the whole thing.
Yeah, that's very surprising.
Yes.
But I understand.
I understand.
From
too.
a game balance point of view.
Mere Mortals is basically telling you that your cultist units, you can't have more cultist units than Legiones Astartes units. Not Legiones Astartes, no.
Yeah, so
what are they called?
So Traitoris Astartes, yeah, so there's, just on that, there's 2 keywords in here that are Astartes based. There's Heretic Astartes, which is everything, that's your faction keyword, and then there's Traitoris Astartes, which is like your marine stuff.
Yes.
So cultists are not Traitoris Astartes, so there'll be a few things which will reference like, Traitoris Astartes can do this. It's not cultist.
Yep.
Yeah, it works much like the cultists and poxwalkers in Death Guard. You can't have more than you do of core marine stuff. This does mean that if you wanted to, you could have 30 cultists, but you need to have at least like 1 Havoc unit, 1 Terminator unit, and 1 Chosen unit, for example.
Yeah.
So you can still run cultists if you want, although I would argue that your Legionnaires are better now.
There's plenty of cool stuff in there.
There's lots of stuff to do.
If you've got them, you can take them. And it's not quite as oppressive than doing it with something like Poxwalkers and Death Guard. It is a bit easier, but yeah, there's a load of cool stuff in it you could take instead. And then you have your Legion traits. So all of your units, bar Agents of Chaos and Cultists will gain the Legion trait keyword, which will replace the Legion keyword.
Finally, your vehicles get it. Yay! And you also get your 2 abilities, but you also get a whole table of Warlord traits. It's the Space Marine supplements in 1 book, which is very good.
Yeah.
So you get your 6 Warlord traits, you get like your 8 stratagems to choose from, like your 6 relics to choose from, your 2 special rules, all of that cool stuff in there. So that's very nice, but we will go into those in greater detail. But suffice it to say, they're all much better for the most part.
Indeed. And finally in this section you also have your Slaves to Darkness. So this allows you to take certain units in your legions. So this will include Khorne Berserkers, this will include Rubric Marines, this will include Plague Marines and Noise Marines.
Yes. So effectively, because we know that there's a World Eaters Codex coming.
We do.
They've said as much.
Called Codex
World Eaters.
World Eaters.
I'd be very confused if it was Codex Warhounds.
Yes.
Because that's an old reference.
Codex Berserkers.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But there's no Khorne Berserkers in here. Now, at time of release, we know that there's like a plan to update them in like an index or something, but we don't have that yet, so we can't really comment on them. But they're not in here, so we'll see what happens with them. But it allows you to take a Rubric Marine squad as an elite's choice. It allows you to take a Plague Marine squad as an elite's choice. No, you cannot take Scarab Occult Terminators. You cannot take Blight Lords.
Naughty, naughty.
And it also gives you a little bit about Noise Marines, because they are in this book.
Yes.
And it basically just says they're troops in a Emperor's Children army. Indeed. And you can take them in other legions, but they'll never get a legion trait because they are Emperor's Children.
Yes.
But they don't get the Emperor's Children trait, blah, blah, blah. Also, all your troops get OBSEC, Kelsey Priest.
Yes.
Funny that.
Yes. So that's sort of it for the detachment abilities. We'll move, the legions we're going to cover on demand in a separate video because it is There's a lot to go through.
There's a lot to go through. They do deserve to be talked about because there's a lot of minutiae in each one. There's some pretty hefty changes from their previous incarnations. And yeah, also the legions deserve to be talked about on an individual basis in some capacity, without making this like a 3-hour long video.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So just to give you an example of what to expect with them though, each legion will have their own legion trait. They have their own legion secondary, a page of Warlord traits, page of supplements, page of relics, and there's a lot to go over because all of the legions, like you mentioned, are very, very different.
Yeah.
There's nothing like what you had before in the supplements. They've all had a complete revamp. They all feel very thematic. They all feel far more powerful.
Yes.
And they sort of lean to what you'd expect them to do as their legions are described in the books and the fluff and so on. So check out that video as well.
One other thing that I'll just mention on the on the legions whilst you'll get into the next section. Yes. There's no custom abilities.
No.
So
very interesting.
There's no pick 2 of this and combine them to create your own. It's just pick a legion, even if you don't match that color scheme, just pick one that you think matches your legion's fighting style. Yeah. So it's, from a game balance perspective, much better because you don't have another 3 pages of stuff to try and go through and go, oh, does this balance against each other? What's the combination for this? You just go, those are my traits, these are my abilities, they are set in stone. Yeah. That's it. Nice and simple.
Which is fine. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. And the other thing to mention with the legions, creation of bile and the red corsairs are also in here. So, and the creations of bile are pretty tasty, man.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about those in the legion video. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the datasheet rules, just because these kind of fall into the purview of the generic stuff. A lot of things in here are, as you would expect, malicious volleys, still the same. Double tap bolt guns.
Yep.
Demon Engine is now codified as a special rule, so it's almost like a universal special rule. So rather than repeating a 5-up invulnerable save and heal a wound every turn on every single datasheet, they just go, you're a Demon Engine. What does a Demon Engine do? It does exactly that.
You're a Demon Engine, Harry.
I'm a Demon Engine.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Harry, no, please, my face, stop eating it.
Horrific, but quite nice.
It is a good pain. You've also got Warp Strike. It's Deep Strike. You don't have Hateful Assault anymore because it is baked into your profiles, which is very nice. Better. And then you have Let the Galaxy Burn.
Oh, let it burn, baby! Woo!
To the ground. Yes. So Death to the False Emperor is gone.
Goodbye.
Now you hate everything equally. I still wish they would have called it Death to the False Everything, but I mean, look, Let the Galaxy Burn also sounds pretty sweet. Yeah. So what this does is it's basically a dark mirror version of the tactical doctrines. Regardless of the turn you're in, you will get +2 shots on your flamers. Yes. Which is already quite, it's quite cool. That's quite niche. Doesn't seem all that strong. But what it is depending on the turn you're in, you are in a certain level of wanton hatred, wanton destruction, wanton massacre, or wanton slaughter. And it works exactly like tactical doctrines. In turn 1, you must be in wanton destruction. In turn 2, you must move to wanton massacre. In turn 3, you can stay in wanton massacre or move to wanton slaughter. And then in turn 4 and 5, you must be in wanton slaughter. Yeah. It's the heavy, it's medium, and it's close range firepower. However, here's the twist.
It is kind of different though to the what you'd expect with Space Marines.
Don't you worry, I'm getting to it. So here's the little twist. Your wanton destruction applies to heavy grenade and rapid fire weapons.
Oh baby.
Your wanton massacre, so this is turn 2, turn 3, applies to rapid fire assault and pistol weapons. And then wanton slaughter applies to your pistol, your melee, and your assault weapons. So you have a nice little bit of an overlap. It is assault in that last one, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yeah. It has a nice little overlap with some previous awesome upcoming ones. So you get a bit more use out of it. But unlike the Space Marines, who are very tactical and precision pinpoint, you're just very angry. So you go full auto. You get exploding 6s. Yeah. So every 6 to hit generates an automatic extra hit. If you're in that doctrine stage with that particular weapon type. It also specifically says that if you are somehow in multiple stages, they don't stack. So if you're in, say, wanton destruction and wanton massacre, you don't get double exploding 6s on your rapid fire weapon. There are ways to go into all 3, and you've christened that already, haven't you?
Yes. So from this day forth, if you're running all 3, it's then wonton soup.
Perfection. So that is a really nice little upgrade to Death to the False Emperor.
Yes.
I'm sure you could argue that there will be some instances where Death to the False Emperor is better because you know you're always going to get it in melee, whereas this one doesn't become active until sort of turn 3 in melee.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can get it on things like las cannons or plasma guns or melter guns or just even the bolt gun. Yes, it's only a bolt gun, but now all of a sudden across an army, you get 5, 6, 10 extra hits with a bolt gun.
Yeah.
It becomes something, it's a nice little boost whilst being thematic, whilst applying to lots of things.
I do quite like it. I think it sort of removes some of the frustrations you'd have as a Space Marine player, where if you're in Devastator Doctrine, it's fine, but you don't really get a huge amount of benefit, and you have to wait to the next one for most of your weapons to do something. But with this one, across the course of a battle, it does mean that your whole army feels a bit more cohesive, and you do get the benefits throughout the different turns.
Yeah.
And there are ways and means with Legion strats and Warlord traits and whatnot where you can kind of manipulate it a little bit. But I feel like it is a good way of balancing the flow of the game.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like is that in Wanton Destruction, because that affects grenade weapons, it's very unlikely you're going to be throwing a grenade in turn 1.
Yeah, that
does feel a bit weird. But
that's a holdover from how Devastator Doctrine works. And from a fluff perspective, I understand that's how it works, because you're throwing something that explodes, which is kind of what that one's all about.
Yeah.
But then your rapid fire weapons are in there as well. It's just... Like, I'd rather see the grenade one in Wanton Slaughter, but then that doesn't... Like, Destruction sounds more like I'm going to blow something up, whereas Slaughter means I'm going to murder you.
Yeah.
So, like, I like the theme of it. I like the fluff of it. That's a very nitpicky thing for the grenade one for me.
Well, you could have fixed it with a stratagem called Chaotic Yeet, and then you just add 30 inches to a grenade throw.
Sure. Why not? Let's talk Battleforged rules. So your strats and your powers and your relics and your warlord traits, all the basic stuff. Remember, as we said numerous times, and then we'll stop mentioning it, there's a lot more in the Legion side of it. You get those in addition to your normal stratagems. Go and check out that video or the guide over on the website. The links are down below. But all your core stuff is here. There's some changes as you'd expect. There's some quality of life updates. There's some rebalancing, retweaking, things like that. We'll go for a couple of them just sort of in terms of overall changes. One of your favorites, Demon Forge.
Demon Forge.
Is now +1 weapon skill and ballistic skill rather than reroll everything.
Yes.
A few of them have stayed the same, so things like Veterans of the Long War is still +1 to wound. It's now 2 CP. Anyone that has read the Death Guard and the Thousand Suns Codexes should not be surprised. If you are, where have you been for 2 years?
We've been.
You can still do it on cultists, which is stupid.
They're not Veterans of the Long War.
Well, apparently they're very angry, enough to be as angry as a...
They're like honorary members of the Long War.
You did well, boy.
Yeah,
you can be a... Yeah, they get you a little badge.
Thank you.
Little gold star. Like, but it's like, it's an 8-pointed gold star, like, on their
put
forehead.
it through their forehead.
On a pin,
Thank you.
Ow! Terminators and Chosen can get a +1 to hit strat. There's a new, so there's 2 stratagems for each of the marks. We'll get to the marks later. They're much more improved.
They do something, Chef.
Yay! That's nice. So there's a new one for Nurgle, which is Grandfather's Blessings. Why are we saying it like that? Because it's basically transhuman physiology, but Nurgle. Grandfather's Blessings.
Yeah.
Hatred Eternal is a new one. It's a combination of fight twice and shoot twice. But it's 1 stratagem for 2 CP and you can only do it on basic Space Marines.
Which is good, because shooting twice and fighting twice is stupid. It slows the game down.
It's on a unit of basic Space Marines, fine. Yeah. And the thing is, a unit of the Legionnaires in combat, a full 10-man unit is
they can be
pretty scary for like their points cost. So if you want to make them fight twice, it's certainly not shabby. It was just the whole thing of like, oh, what are you going to do with those free CP there, bit? I'm going to fire twice with my obliterators with +1 to win. Okay.
Obliterators.
We'll get to them, don't worry. And then we've got one of your new favourites, the Gifts of Chaos.
The Gifts of Chaos.
Now, a lot of armies have the ability to put 2 Warlord traits onto their Warlord.
You know why? Because they're weak.
Oh.
And they need additional support.
I see.
But characters are strong. They're warp infused. And they also like to pillage and plunder as well. So what Gifts of Chaos allows you to do is you can do what you normally expected, which is to give an additional relic to an additional character. But, little caveat with Chaos Space Marines, you can give 2 relics to 1 character.
Oh,
Oh, just like our mate on the front of the cover. There's a reason why he's got devastating looking
Two demon weapons, except because demon weapons are in this book. You can't have a demon weapon and an extra relic. Why? Because demons are jealous.
Yeah, they are very jealous.
They don't want to share power with something else.
Eat each other
Yeah.
and fight and stuff. But this is very cool. It makes your warlord feel so much more powerful. It feels like they've been through countless battles and they're holding like the best of the relics that they've been gifted or have taken from a destroyed enemy. And you can make some really
Yeah,
nice
you can do some really fun combos because that will apply to any relics that you have access to. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Otherwise, it acts like, you say, a normal give a relic to someone. Yeah. You can give a relic to a sergeant type character. Same as Space Marines. Yep. You've then got some cool new stratagems like contempt over caution.
Oh my goodness.
This allows, because basically, you know, I mean, the flavor text is allies are of little concern when a hated foe must be obliterated.
I tell you what, and that paragraph there really does tell you what this book feels like.
Yeah.
There's so much character and so much depth to this book. It just it makes it feel like your legion has a story, and every unit feels exactly how you'd expect them to perform. It's brilliant. It's really good.
But what this enables you to do is you can pick a core unit that is not in engagement range, and they can fire at another enemy unit that is in engagement range with one of your legion units.
Yeah.
However, you can't reroll ones to hit, or you can't reroll any hits rather, and any ones to hit automatically hit your friendly unit.
It's a worthy sacrifice.
It's a worthy sacrifice. Which becomes doubly funny when you do it on plasma, because if you overcharge, you kill yourself and kill a friend, which is brilliant. It does cost 2 CP, but it only costs 1 if you're firing at a enemy unit that's in engagement range of all cultists, because their life is worthless.
They don't mean nothing. They'll meat shields.
It's so cool. Shall I tell you what is good? Marks Chaos.
Oh, they do something, Chef. They do something.
So they're no longer a choosable keyword. Instead, they are your pointed upgrade, as we've been seeing in many books so far. And basically, they're all 15 points, regardless of what you put them on. However, they must already have the Chaos Undivided keyword.
Yes.
You can only put them on core units, you can only put them on character units, and anything that is basically demonic doesn't have the undivided keyword. So you can't put any of these on possessed or obliterators or whatever, because they're already kind of, we don't need to be marked, we're already demonic.
Yeah, they
so it
are
doesn't,
marked.
Yeah, yes, in horrible, nasty, gribbly ways. But what they do is they all give you a benefit for the 15 points, and if you have an icon in the unit, they give you an additional benefit whilst the icon is still in there. There's only 3 units that can take marks and icons, which are your chosen, your basic legionnaires, and your bikers, so that won't come up too much, but hey, it's a nice bonus, right?
It is.
But what do they do, Bib? Because they actually do something.
They actually do something.
They give you a rule.
So as you'd expect, you have Mark of Khorne, Mark of Nurgle, Mark of Tzeentch, and Mark of Slaanesh. No Mark of Balal.
Malal.
Maybe next time.
Balal.
Balal?
No, it's Malal.
I said Malal.
I thought you said Bulal.
Maybe I went more. I meant more.
Okay.
Malal.
Malal.
So, we have, so Mark of Khorne means that each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, if they made a charge move, was charged, or perform a heroic intervention, you can add 1 to the strength, which
It's great.
is great. And when you put it on something like Chosen, which we'll go into in further detail later on, that just makes them that much better.
They become quite gnarly.
If you have access to a unit which has access to an icon, in addition to that, each time a model in the unit makes a melee attack, you improve the AP by 1, which
That's quite nice.
is pretty good. It's pretty good. Mark of Nurgle. Each time an attack is made against this unit, if the strength characteristic of that unit either equals or is at least double the toughness of this unit, you subtract 1 from the wound roll.
So it's effectively, you can never be wounded on better than a 3+, because even like a strength 16 weaponry, you get a -1 to wound from it.
Yeah.
Something that's the same suddenly becomes 5s to wound.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice.
Yeah. Just makes that a bit more survivable. If you have an icon, when you make ranged attacks, 6s automatically wound. 6s to hit automatically wound the target, which is pretty cool.
That's helpful. Yeah.
With Tzeentch, I quite like this one. With Tzeentch, once per turn, after you've failed your first saving throw, the damage characteristic of that successful wound is 0. The changer of ways. Their fates have been altered.
Yeah.
And they will survive for now.
That one alone is basically why you can't take this on tanks.
Yes.
Because otherwise you go, last cannon, don't care.
Yes. Goodbye. If you have an icon, You can improve the AP of range attacks by 1, which is fine.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mark of Slanesh gives you fight first.
Always nice.
Which is very, very cool. And if you have an icon, then you get +1 to hit in the fight phase.
Which is also pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really nice that the marks actually finally do something again.
Yeah.
And they all feel quite appropriate.
The icons don't cost additional points.
They're like they're 5 points,
5 points
on the units that can take them, but the rules themselves are just whilst the icon's alive.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's look, a mark of corn on a unit of legionnaires basically for 20 points gives the unit +1 strength in combat for the first round of combat and an extra AP on their chainswords.
Yeah.
Like for 20 points, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and the other cool thing is that the icon can be put on your champion because it just specifies that you put it on
model.
a model.
Yeah,
which
so
is cool.
it's always going to be around.
Yeah.
You know, or in the case of like if you're going for a Zinch unit with like a las cannon, you just put it on the las cannon guy, so he's always got an AP4 las cannon.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it's a nice little bonus. I'm glad that they do something. They're a bit more limited now in terms of who can take them, but because they actually do something inherent rather than just being tied to a single stratagem.
Yeah.
There are still stratagems which work off of them, of course, as we mentioned, but it just feels a neater system now, which is nice.
And then we've got relics. Yes, we do.
Most of the relics have been vastly improved. We won't talk about all of them because there's a lot to cover. We're going to pick just like one of our favorites, but we will talk about the demon weapons.
The demon weapons. So this is one of my favorite changes in the book. So any Chaos Space Marine player will have not necessarily fond, but memories of demon weapon relics. So you'd have, there's like Slanesh Talons, and there's like the Murder Sword and the Black Mace and that kind of stuff. What they've done very cleverly is that they have created rules for these demon weapons, but you can apply them to any model, any weapon that you like. So for example, any melee weapon you like, yes. So for example, Uloka the Black, I believe was a mace previously.
It was Uloka the Black Axe.
The Black Axe, yes. But now you put it on a Chaos Undivided model and it can replace any melee weapon, which is brilliant. So,
Chainsword,
yeah.
Lightning Claw,
Yeah.
Power Fist.
Yeah. It's amazing. So however your characters are modeled, whatever weapon they've got, you don't have to be limited to one weapon type. Demon weapons can be whatever you like. So as an example for Uloka the Black, that weapon that you have, your chainsword, your power sword, whatever, becomes a relic. Whilst you have that, each time an attack is made with the demon weapon, if the attack successfully wounds, it suffers a mortal wound in addition to any normal damage.
I mean, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Now, there are downsides to demon weapons, as there always have. Of course
there are.
Before you fight with a demon weapon, you must roll 2d6. If you beat your leadership, now bear in mind most of your stuff's like leadership 10, like 9 or 10. Although, what I really like that Dracnin isn't a demon weapon because Abaddon is his true master. He doesn't need to do a contest of wills with him. Yeah. So what you need to do is you roll your 2d6. If you beat the leadership, you choose one of two things. You either cannot use that weapon in that fight phase, or you take d3 mortal wounds to appease the demon and then use the weapon.
Yeah. Which is brilliant.
And if you control the demon weapon by rolling under your leadership on the 2d6 or equal or under, is it equal or under or equal or above?
Less than or equal. Yeah.
Cool. So if you control, so if you roll a 9 or a 10 on 2d6 or less, you just fight with the demon weapon.
Yeah.
Otherwise you go, I've got to take some mortal wounds, or I just don't use it.
Yeah.
Fine.
I kind of like it. It shows that the character wielding it is very, very powerful, but the demon is like
a demon,
mischievous.
Yeah,
has its own
that kind
agenda.
That kind of ability has always existed with demon weapons. They've always had some sort of very powerful ability with a downside.
Yeah.
But it's one of those ones that there'll be times where it comes off in every single game, on every single time you fight, and you go, this is rubbish. But then there'll be times where you go, you don't see it for ages.
Yeah.
One thing to look out for is leadership debuffs, of course, but they're relatively rare.
What's your favourite one?
I do like Uloka the Black,
because
doing mortal wounds whenever you wound is very nice. However, I think my favourite is, I've got to pronounce it.
This one?
Frasariel the Rapturous. Slanesh. So these are all tied to marks apart from Chaos Undivided. This one, you have to pick 2 weapons.
Yeah, they're like twin demons.
They count as 1 relic.
Yeah.
They count as 1 demon weapon. You only need to do 1 demon weapon test. If you pass it, they both get D3 extra attacks.
It's wild.
You do that on a demon prince with his sword and his claw.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, this was previously the Slanesh lightning claws.
Yeah, they were lightning claws.
But yeah, now on a demon prince with his talon and the axe or the sword, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
pretty
cool.
wild. What's your favorite one?
Yeah, I think. Oh no, this one's quite cool. The Nurgle one.
Sure.
Gorlax the Decayed. This is quite unique because when you're attacking with this weapon, if a hit is scored, it automatically wounds the target. And in addition to that, enemy models cannot use any rules to ignore wounds that they lose.
Go punch out a Catan.
Yeah. Or Gaz.
Or Gaz.
Yeah.
I mean, you still probably won't kill Gaz.
You probably won't kill Gaz, but you maybe do.
You do more than 4, yeah. So yeah, that's those. There's some relics in here. You know, things like the Black Mace is in here. It's much better. The damage spills over. The Murder Sword is gone. It's a Crusade thing now, but you get the Blade of the Relentless, which is very similar.
Yeah. Also, there's some excellent artwork across the relics
the
pages,
artwork
which will come up for your viewing pleasure now.
Talisman of Burning Blood is in here, but it's slightly different. It now gives you longer heroic intervention and extra attacks rather than advance and charge.
Yeah.
My favorite is a new one, Gorget of Eternal
Oh,
Hatred.
it's very cool.
You add 1 to the armor save, you get a 4-up in Vun, and when you die, you explode on a 2+ for D3 mortal wounds. Yeah, you hate so much you explode. And if you're on a 6, you do flat 6 mortal wounds. That'd be bonkers.
Flat 3.
Flat 3, and that's to all enemy units within 3 inches. Yeah. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
So that's the relics.
Yeah.
You've then got the Hereticus Discipline and the Malefic Discipline. They're mostly the same, but slightly different. If you've got a mark, you get your Tzeentch power, your Nurgle power, your Slanesh power. You get that in addition now. It's just for free. You don't have to replace a power. Nice. Most of them are the same. Prescience. Diabolic Strength is now +2 strength and attack rather than +1 attack. Death Hex is the same. Warp Time, you can't charge now. That is different.
Which is fine.
But that's fine. And it's infantry or spawn only, so you can't do it on like a Demon Prince.
Yeah.
Fine. Malefic Discipline is fairly similar, but there's well, I say it's fairly similar. It's actually gotten quite a big overhaul. Yeah. We won't go through them all because there's a lot to discuss with them. But your favorite is probably what? Pact of Flesh.
Pact of Flesh.
Please regale the audience.
So I'll tell you the warp charge afterwards. When you cast it, you can select one friendly Legion core, Demonkin, or character unit within 18 inches. Demonkin being the keyword of choice. And there's 2 bullet points here. You don't do one or the other, you can do both.
Yeah, it specifically says you just do this.
Yeah.
You don't pick one.
So the first thing you can do is one model in the unit regains up to D3 lost wounds. Which is very, very
that's
cool.
really nice.
It's nice. If you selected a core or Demonkin unit that was not at starting strength, one destroyed model is added back to that unit with its full wounds remaining.
Oh.
So if you destroy a model and wound one, you can essentially bring both of them back to life.
I see. So he's an apothecary, but at an 18-inch range.
Yes. And the warp charge of this is 5.
That's quite low to bring an obliterator back to life.
Yes. The other thing you can do, because this is obviously with the Master of Possession, there is an ability which he has called Sacrificial Dagger. It doesn't work on Demonkin or Cultist models.
They're not worthy.
But if you do this, you essentially stab a model with your Sacrificial Dagger. They take D3 mortal wounds, but then you add 2 to the psychic tests. So that means that Pact of Flesh would go off on a 3.
You bring in an obliterator back and healing one on a 3 because you killed a basic Chaos Space Marine. Okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Master Possessions are really good.
Yeah, Master Possessions are really good.
Very good.
Yeah, there's a few other ones in here. There's very nice. So Warp Marked gives all of your Demonkin and Demon Engines +1 to wound against an enemy unit within 18 of you.
Yes.
Army wide.
Yes.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
For Warp Charge 7, so it's expensive, but wow, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Cursed Earth still gives you a 4-up, but also does mortal wounds when you charge.
Yeah.
Infernal Power is now 6s to hit auto wound rather than reroll 1s to hit and wound. So there's some nice bonuses in here, and the Malefic Discipline has definitely been given a nice revamp. Prayers to the Dark Gods. Big changes in here. Dark Zealotry is still the same. Well, I say still the same. All of your abilities now will only affect core cultist and character units.
Yep.
So no more doing that. So obliterators possessed are not core.
No. It feels like prayers are for your martial possession is for
Demons,
blitz and possess and all the mutated stuff.
Yeah.
This is for units that aren't quite so gifted.
Yeah, similar to your powers. If you have a mark, you get that prayer for free in addition to your other prayers, which is really good. Like, yeah. I appreciate the flexibility, and there's some quite nice ones with that. Slanesh is particularly good, advance and charge. I like that one a lot, but they are restricted to only being usable on the ones with the same keyword. So that means you won't be able to do that on a cultist unit because they can't take marks. They are not worthy. And then, again, the prayers have had some pretty big revamps. Some of them, I think, are kind of a bit of a trick option. Benediction of Darkness, for example. It's a 6-inch aura that gives light cover. You go, Chef, how is that a trick option? Because it's Holy Within.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever seen Holy Within in 40k, and it's a 6-inch aura. I mean, good luck getting it, like more than one unit wholly within 6 inches of your chaplain.
That does seem quite odd because a lot of the units, like possessed legionnaires,
well, they can't benefit from it anyway, possessed, because it's core only.
So I mean, like a lot of the units you can take like 10 models.
Oh, I see, yeah. If not more.
They're not sort of reduced to 5.
Yeah.
So that is a tricky one to use effectively.
On the flip side, you get something like Illusory Supplication, which you pick a single unit within 6 inches, you give them transhuman to hit, and you can't reroll hits against them, which is very strong.
Yeah.
I'll take that one, please.
Yeah, and you can also make a battle priest as well, which is very pleasant. Makes me very happy.
Yeah. Doesn't work on your relic though. Not the you get +3 attacks, which is very nice, and +2 AP, but that AP bit doesn't work on your relics, but that's fine. Yeah, and then Warlord traits. Big revamps on these. They're actually useful now.
Yay!
Yeah, they're much better. My personal favorite is Flames of Spite, which was already fun. You now get reroll wounds in melee, which is fantastic.
That's very cool.
And the 6s to wound, to do the mortal wound in addition, work on ranged as well now, which is kind of cute. You do that on a Hellstalker for your Lord Disco. Yeah. But he's very scary now. Like, he's very scary. Yeah. Lord of Terror is still like your morale debuffer. Hatred Incarnate is in there. That's the one that gives you reroll hit rolls with your melee, and also gives you +1 strength and attack when you charge or heroically intervene. Yeah. It's the Imperium sword, but reroll hits rather than reroll charges. Yes. Which is pretty cool, right? So they're a lot more useful. A lot of them are melee orientated, but you're playing Chaos. Like, why are you not going into glorious melee? You've then got some chapter approved rules, which we can basically rip out of the codex now, so that's fine. And then that leads us into the rest of the book. So there's some big changes in the Battleforge thing. Obviously, we can't go through every single thing because we'll be here for even longer than we already are, but let's talk about some units.
And onto the units themselves. We are going to go into a lot more detail in our units and combos video. There is a lot to talk about in this book, so we're not going to go into a huge amount of depth on everything on here, but we're going to give you a bit of a summary of all of the units.
If you want depth, go to the tactical guide. It's all there. It's all free, guys. Like, don't worry about that. Yeah. Like, it's all there in detail, so you'll be fine.
In terms of the characters, pretty much across the board, everything has received an additional wound, which is very pleasant.
As you'd expect, really.
They've all had an additional attack because we've taken away
Hateful Assault.
Hateful Assaults, so you can expect to see that as well.
It's much easier.
Yes, yes, everything's had a bit of a boost. Some more than others.
Yep.
The War Master is
the Master of War.
Oh my goodness.
He's bonkers.
Absolutely insane. So you're going to use him like a cruise missile. He's not necessarily going to boost up your army a huge amount, unless you're using back Legion, but him in himself he's incredible.
He's wild. We go into him in the top units video.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil it now.
But suffice it to say, he is... Like, I'm going to throw it out there. I think he's one of the best melee characters in the game, if not the best. Yeah. And probably, like, in terms of just raw damage output, I don't know anything that can stop him.
Yeah. I'd equal him to a Primarch
I put him above the Primarchs.
in terms of like his stature now,
Yeah.
but he is better than all the
he's
Primarchs.
he's wild.
Yeah.
He's absolutely wild.
So yeah, check out the video on demand because we talk about him at length in that one.
Harken World Claimer's actually worth using now,
Hey!
which is nice. Like he's got Master Crafted Lightning Claw now, so he's actually damaging in combat.
Yeah.
He's also the only way that you can have a jump pack Lord.
Okay, so this is so for the most part, I absolutely adore this book. One thing I completely disagree with and really upset about is that Chaos Lords now you can't take a jump pack.
Yep.
Which is just mad.
It's just
I get it from the point of that you can't buy a Chaos Lord with a jump pack anymore, but as a Chaos player and any Chaos player out there, I'm sure everyone has a Chaos Lord with a jump pack.
Yeah, I understand. If you're approaching this as a brand new player, you won't, and then you want to go out and you want to buy a Chaos Lord, you won't find one with a jump pack. So I get it from that perspective, and it sort of does tend to follow that trend of, what's in the box and you buy what you can and things like that. That's as Games Workshop as a business, I understand that. However, are we going to take jump packs away from captains for Space Marines now?
And librarians.
Because your sorcerers can't. We're going to take them away from chaplains because you can't buy a chaplain with a jump pack. You have to buy the jump pack separately. It's an annoying change. I would just argue, just ask your friendly local gaming group, can I have my Chaos Lord using these stats and pay 25 points for a jump pack? Because that's what it costs for a captain.
We're thinking about house ruling.
That's how we're going to do it, I think.
It's just such a shame. And I can hear the screams
Especially
of
from Night Lord players, man.
I mean, they love to scream anyway, but this is so sad for them. Because
it sucks.
everyone has a Night Lord's Chaos Lord.
Why would you not?
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
And there's even rules in there that allude to characters with jump.
Yeah,
fly.
it's really odd. It's really odd. Like, all they could have done was just called it demonic flight, and they could have had a little designer's commentary note just saying like, demonic flight could represent a jump pack, it could represent wings, it could represent teleportation, it could represent you just like being super duper fast. For all intents and purposes, regardless of what it is modeled like or not modeled like, it is a 25-point upgrade that gives you a 12-inch move and fly. Done. But it's just frustrating. It's very frustrating. But regardless, Huron is still Huron. He's still Huron. Demon Princes are kind of as you would expect. They followed the trend of the other Demon Princes in Death Guard of Thousand Suns. They've been given some stat boosts. You must give them a mark. If you are anything but Khorne, you become a Psycho. If you're Khorne, you get extra strength and attack.
But with the addition of being able to give them double relics and the combination of that and Warlord traits, you can really have quite a unique feel to them, so they're really good.
They do have two interesting new rules, though, that's worth pointing out. Fearsome is a 6-inch aura of -1 leadership, which is nifty. And then they are Demonic, which gives them a 5-up invulnerable save, but a 4-up invulnerable save against ranged. Interesting.
I'm not mad about that.
I mean, look, it's kind of cool to have, but it's also interesting. Fine. Fabulous Bill is Fabulous Bill. He buffs up stuff.
He is fab.
Cypher is Cypher. Like, again, we're not going to go through everything. They're kind of there. Master of Possession we've talked on. He's very good, I think, if you're running demons and your demon kin. Chaos Lord, guess what? Your aura of reroll 1s to hit only applies to core. This should be to the surprise of no one. You can have a Chaos Lord in Terminator armor.
So you can deep strike for some maneuverability if you wish.
Sorcerer in Terminator armor. Lucius is now much better, and I thought he was already fairly decent.
He's a proper...
But he's a proper character killer now. Lord Disco, he's changed significantly. He's only got 9 wounds now, so he's protected.
He can't be shot in
Can't be
turn
shot,
1,
which is very nice. But he's a lot more of just a murderer now. He doesn't really do... He's like... +1 to hit in an aura is gone. Also, everyone's already weapon skill, ballistic skill free now on your demon engines anyway, so it's kind of moot. What he does do is he eats vehicles very good. I like the Technovirus Injector. +1 damage whenever he makes melee attacks against vehicles. To all of his weapons, which is pretty nice. If he destroys an enemy vehicle in combat, until the end of the battle, he can use his ability twice, which allows him to either give +1 to hit to a friendly Legion vehicle within 9 inches. So he still gives a buff, but it's not an aura anymore, but it applies to any Legion vehicle, which is quite nice. Or he can roll a number of d6 equal to the wounds characteristic of an enemy vehicle within 9 and do a mortal wound for each 6 to a maximum of 6. So against like like a knight, he can just do a ton of mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Warpsmiths are basically Chaos Tech Marines now.
Yeah, it's not the rules that you got in the Shadow Spear, but Shadow Spear, whatever box he came in, he's proper now.
No, Eldritch Omens. That was it. Yeah.
So he has more attacks, he has more wounds.
Yeah.
He can heal, but he can also give +1 to hit on your demon engines.
No, it's a Legion vehicle. So Demon Engine, Land Raider, Predator, Vindicator, Defiler, Lord Disco.
The Warpsmiths are great now.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Dark Apostles are pretty much the same, but your Dark Disciples are now part of the unit and included in your points cost. Exalted Champions have a set War Gear Outload, which is a Combi Melter and an Exalted Power Axe, which is a damage 2 Power Axe, and they now act as a Lieutenant.
Yep.
So they are a bit more set in stone because that's what the model is, but they are generally more useful. We then have the Dark Commune. You guys would have seen these models on Warcom. They are beautiful models. They're basically, they are a HQ slot for cultists, which are basically a mini Psyker, a mini Priest, a mini combat unit, and some cultist buffs.
And an icon.
And like there's a lot of rules to cover with them, but they're basically a little bit of everything, but being cultists, they're not as good as the normal case.
Yeah, we recommend checking it out on the articles.
Yeah. Then we get to our troops, Legionnaires.
They got 2 wounds.
They got 2 wounds. They've also got an extra attack, but you are paying 18 points for them now. Anyone that thought that you were going to be getting your extra wound for nothing was deluded. Not for you, but that you've got a lot more options. You've got this big old heavy chain axe. You can make them a Psyker.
The Balefire Tome.
Read my book of flame and go, oh, I've seen some stuff. And I'm a mini Psyker. So you can only get access to like 3 of the powers on the Dark Hereticus discipline, but it's
nice to have the option.
It's still good. I mean, even just an extra smite for 20 points is pretty handy to have. Legionnaires, I think they're going to be the mainstay over the cultists.
Oh, I think so.
Because they're actually worth using now, especially with like Armor of Contempt and stuff like that.
And there's loads of strats you can use with them as well.
Loads of strats. Cultists are still cultists. They're not core, so no rerolls for them. You can only take them in units of 20 now. Fine. And then we've got the Accursed Cultists, which are a mixed bag. They are an all melee unit. They revive models in your command phase. They have a shrug. You know, they're scary and spoopy, but they can, and they auto pass morale. Oh no, you ignore the little ones for morale. Because they don't care. But they're cultists with extra strength and toughness and an AP in combat, like.
And you've got
and you've got the big gribbly things, the torments, so they're really nasty. Which are basically, they operate like mini Spawn, basically. They're fun. Yeah. The models are great. Oh. I think you might run a unit or 2 just for the fun factor.
It's a proper body horror unit.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy. Chaos Terminators.
They're good, man.
The best quality of life change that Games Workshop has ever done. Do you have Chaos Terminators at home? Have you got them in a mixed unit with a Lightning Claw, a Power Axe, a Power Sword, a Power Maul? Because that's what comes in the kit.
Power Fist, Chain Fist.
Power Fist, Chain Fist. Hey, look, guess what? Your Lightning Claw, your Power Sword, your Power Maul, your Power Axe are now accursed weapons.
It's brilliant.
They all have the same profile, which is +1 strength, -3 AP, only damage 1, but +1 attack.
That's amazing. Now, I can already hear people say, but I want to use all my mixed weapons. Trust us, it's better.
It's just easier.
It's better. When you're playing the game and you're in combat with your Terminators, you can just roll all your dice and they do the same thing.
With an extra attack, an extra wound, Armor of Contempt, the Accursed Weapon, they're much better.
Yeah, three can take Power Fist if you wish, but that's a lot of attacks.
It's a lot of attacks at good strength, good AP.
Yeah.
You might argue that, but I'd prefer the all Lightning Claws that I've given them, that I've bought all the bits for and converted up. Well, you've got better strength and you've got better AP anyway. Yeah. So that kind of offsets the reroll wounds that you were getting anyway. And at 33 points, they're really good. Yeah, they're really good. Master of Execution still exists for some reason.
It's still pants.
Yeah. You know what isn't?
Tell me. Oh my God.
Exalted Possessed, or Greater Possessed, whatever they were called, are gone.
They're gone.
Because they are the same size as the normal Possessed, so now you can just use them as like a unit champion because he looks cool.
Yeah, so you get a box of 5, so if you've already got your Greater Possessed, you now have 7.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
That's nice. You've already seen what they do on Warcom. They're wild.
Yeah.
We'll get to their points later. Yep. Chosen, baby.
Yeah.
They're basically just Terminators, but without the Terminator armor.
They're a really, really good unit. These as well have the accursed weapons. So you'll notice in the box, they've all got a mixture of weapons, but you just take them as a cursed weapon, which is brilliant. You think you can upgrade one to have like a demon sword or a demon blade or a demon something?
So you can upgrade some to... No, it's but the champion the champion can take like a demon relic, like one of the relics, if you pay the CP for it. In addition, they have a chosen ability, which is if the first time you kill a unit, you're in wonton soup for the rest of the game. Yeah, which is kind of cool.
Delicious.
But free wound Space Marines. Is basically what they are, which is very nice.
Give them an icon as well. Oh baby,
they become very cheeky. Hellbrutes are Hellbrutes.
It is.
Noise Marines still exist. I love the fact that they use the guitar guy as the image. Yeah. Sure, why not?
I understand.
They don't like fire on death anymore.
No.
But all their sonic weapons get +1 damage at half range, which is very cheeky.
Yeah.
You've then got the Venom Crawler in fast attack.
Now a fast attack, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he's also pretty scary.
Yeah.
Chaos Spawn are the same stats as they have been in previous Chaos books. So the Thousand Suns Death Guard. However, Hideous Regeneration. Each time an enemy unit shoots or fights after this at this unit, after they finish making their attack, if any models in this unit are wounded but not killed, they immediately heal all of their wounds. So you go, I'll fire a bolt gun at that Chaos Spawn, try and soften him up. Just don't waste your time.
No.
Because you go, I did 3 wounds to it.
Nearly dead. No. Nope. It's like the T-1000.
Dun 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 dun. Be like, imagine. Oh mate, someone does. I would love to see Terminator 2 redone, but with Chaos Spawn instead of Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it turns from a sci-fi horror movie to just, oh god, why?
Yeah.
Bikers are
nice
bikers. They're pretty much the same, but as we've sort of explained, extra wound, extra attacks. Raptors are the same, but their aura is now 6 inches -1 rather than tiny.
Yeah.
Warp Talons. You like the Warp Talons now?
5 attacks each!
So their Lightning Claws are now Warp Claws. It basically combines their Lightning Claws into one thing.
Yep.
They're still basically Lightning Claws.
Yep.
But their Warp Flame ability basically prevents anything that isn't a monster or vehicle from falling back from them.
It's like, come with us, you stay here.
Yep, when they charge into combat, you are engaged in an arena of fire. Yeah. You can't run away from them.
Nice.
Havocs are Havocs. They're the same. All right, let's talk about Obliterators. We talk about Obliterators in depth in the units video, but boy, oh boy.
Oh my goodness.
Mutilators are gone.
Yeah, no more. Mutilators are out.
What a shame.
It doesn't matter because Obliterators ate them, essentially. That's what happened here.
They went, give me your Power Fist, and I will make it better.
Yeah. Now, these have had an enormous overhaul. We're going to go into this into a lot of detail in the top units and combos video, because there's so much you can do with them and how utterly different and devastating they are. They deserve extra time. So if you want to hear about them properly, there's a video, and you've also got the articles on the website as well. Essentially, the flesh metal guns, you have 3 profiles, one for killing infantry, one for killing elite infantry, and one for anti-tank, essentially. They've all got an additional wound, which is very nice.
Yeah.
They all have 5 invulnerable save. You can take 1 to 3, even though you can't technically buy them at the moment, which is a bit weird. Well, at time of recording this, they were in the old combat patrol box. We don't know if there's going to be repackaged. We'll see. No idea. But essentially, this is one of the best heavy support choices in the book. But if you want to know all the details, head over to the website and we'll go into far more in there.
Suffice it to say, everything is like, the number of shots is still random, but you do have usually a plus to it. So it's like D3 plus 3, or D6 plus 9 in the case of the anti-infantry one. You've got set strength, set AP, set damage. So you know exactly what you're going to do when you choose them. Yeah. You've got Power Fist without a -1 in combat because you've eaten the Obliterators, now they don't exist. Yeah. You can fire into combat. They're very good. A solid choice for me. Yes, Land Raider. It's a Land Raider, except this Land Raider's toughness 9 and has +2 damage on its last cannon.
What?
Okay then!
What? Hang on. I can hear the tears of Space Marine players falling on the ground.
Well, maybe you can wait 2 years.
Yeah!
Welcome to
We have 1 wound forever!
Welcome
5
to
years!
the long war!
5 years with 1 wound!
It's still a Land Raider, but yeah, toughness 9.
Very interesting.
With the 2-up save, armor of contempt, the +2 damage on both of your las cannons. Sorry, it's not las cannons. It's in good Games Workshop naming conventions. It is the most wildly bonkers name ever, but at least this one does something unlike the Chaos Knights version. The Twin Soul Shatter Las Cannon, which is, yeah, that's cool.
We heard you like souls, but now we can shatter your souls with
our las cannons.
With our las cannons.
So that's nice. Chaos Vindicator, Chaos Predator, the Chaos Predator Destructor, Chaos Predator Annihilator. They are, as you would expect with the Marine version, except they're all +1 toughness, so they're toughness 8 on those. And the Annihilator, the las cannon version, is the Soul Shatter version, so it has +2 damage.
Very interesting.
So they're interesting now. Defilers are the same, but they're +1 weapon skill, ballistic skill. Forge Fiends, Mauler Fiends, these are the same, but +1 weapon skill, ballistic skill. They're basically just reprints of the ones in the Death Guard and Thousand Suns Codex, but with obviously the various benefits you have for being in the Chaos Marine book.
Yeah.
You have Rhinos. Helldrakes are the same as they are in the Thousand Suns, but again, you're in Chaos Space Marines. Yeah. So that is the data sheets. Oh, apart from the Corn Lord of Skulls, which is, as you would expect, he's big, beefy, nasty. He gets angrier as he gets damaged. He has he's a Titanic, he's a super heavy. The +1 weapon skill, ballistic skill of the demon engines, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
And the Noctglyph Crown is still in here to give invuns and bonuses as a fortification that is still annoyingly targetable.
Yeah.
So let's talk points. There's not much to say. They're in the Munitorum Field Manual. Nothing has changed, as you would expect, but if you've seen them already, you know that there's a lot of stuff in there which is wildly cheap for what it does, now that you've got the context of the book.
Yeah.
28 points for Possessed. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
90 points for Obliterators. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
The advantages that they do have for their cost is they are not core.
They're not core.
So they are locked out of a lot of options. They can't take marks or anything like that, so you can't unlock some super duper mega combo, but there's still a lot of stuff that they can do.
Yeah.
Abaddon for 300 points is crazy.
He's one of the best units in the game.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's absolutely crazy. But as you would have seen in the Munitorum Field Manual, everything has gotten more expensive, but you have more stats and abilities and, general goodness for that. Yeah. People that were running 28-point Terminators, you've now got to pay 5 points more, but you're generally better because you have an extra wound, you have a built-in extra attack, you have accursed weapons, which are just generally better. You have Armor of Contempt, which, you already had anyway, but sure. You have Let the Galaxy Burn. You have better Legion traits. You've got to pay points for boosts.
And it's worth it.
You're not a Tyrannid.
It's so worth it. They're about right, probably, with the points.
I think so. There's a few things which I think are a little bit undercosted.
Abaddon?
I would say Abaddon, Possessed, Obliterators, Venom Crawlers are all slightly undercosted. Not much, just ever so slightly, maybe like 10% or something.
Yeah. There's not much overcosted. I wouldn't necessarily say.
No, I think Chosen are maybe a little bit too expensive. They're very good. I think they could be like 23, 24 points. The problem with them is then you kind of go, why would I ever run Legionnaires?
Yeah.
If you make them too cheap, why would you ever run Legionnaires? Yeah. I think Legionnaires 18 points is bang on because they're a tactical marine, but just better because they're veterans, as they should be. I think overall the book is... Okay, look, I'm gonna say it right now because we're on our final thoughts. This book, to me, is what Chaos Marines should always be.
Exactly right.
Really cool, really interesting, balanced without being broken.
Yep.
Looking at you, Tyrannids.
You stupid Tyrannids.
Stupid bugs. This book feels like... It feels like what 9th edition Codex should be.
Yeah.
It feels flavorful, balanced. There's a few things which I feel like have kind of slipped through the cracks, but that's always going to happen when you've got a book which is this big.
182 pages.
Sure, some of that's fluff and some of it's Crusade, which Crusade is great. I know some people go like, why don't you review Crusade? Because Crusade is kind of, it's a really fun system, but there's so much to chew through with it.
Very in-depth.
It's super in-depth. And also, it's not like balanced anyway, because it's narrative. Narratives are inherently never going to be balanced because they're more about the fun and the story that you're telling. In terms of the overall design for this codex, this feels fantastic to me.
Yeah, your warmonger warlords are scary. They demand respect, and they will take all of your skulls, etc. Everything feels great. The themes are there for all the legions. All the units do what they're supposed to do. We're not going through this and thinking, oh, it's such a shame that this thing is too busted because it's going to make people upset. Any Chaos Space Marine player is going to love this book, whether you play narratively, whether you play competitively, because there are some great builds. This book is not broken, but there are some great builds that you can do. If you just play occasionally with your mates, if you're, even if you're a collector, it just adds more fluff to your models. It's just, I'm so happy with it. It's great.
It's a fantastic book. It's definitely an A stamp from me.
I'm going to give it an S. S tier, baby.
It's an S tier book because it's what a book should be, not S tier because it's broken looking at you Tyranids or Harlequins. Yeah.
I don't see this being a mainstay on any balance data sheets. I don't see this being massively FAQ'd.
I can't.
It just works great.
Yeah. It hits the ground running. Yeah. But it hits the ground running without sprinting ahead of everyone else whilst tripping them up because they've been given a 30-second head start and everyone else has had their shins broken already.
Exactly.
Like, you know, other codexes which begin with TY.
Relics.
Yes. Look, I'm very happy with this book.
We did it!
Beard's very happy with this book.
Yes!
In case you can't tell. You may have.
Thank you.
It's yours now.
Thank you.
Yours.
It's me.
It's me. No. Who's you? We're going to show you now. It's probably already popped up on screen.
Yeah, show him
he's your favourite. Where is he?
It's back in the fluff section.
The fluff section, which is
large
and chunky.
It's the perfect interpretation of my boys.
Yeah.
My silver boys.
Where are you? You personally.
Yes. Oh, look at the size of it. Yes! Yeah. Yes, look at him! Katie was like, what's going on with his mouth? It's like, that's just what he is. He's got a gun coming out of his head. He's got the biggest combi melter I've ever seen in my life. He's got all of the servo arms. Tendrils are plenty. He's shouting. There's a skull on it. It's just perfection. I'm just so happy.
Veterans of the Long War, you have been rewarded with greatness.
Rejoice.
Rejoice and join the Dark Gods, for we have cookies. Well, Mr. Beard, on that note, it's a bit of a chunky one, but it's a chunky book. We're going to leave it there.
Yeah.
What do you think about the new Chaos Codex? Are you super mega hype? Are you a little bit disappointed that something didn't quite go according to what you were hoping or expecting? Are you just looking forward to crushing the enemies of the False Emperor beneath your boot heel? Let us know in the comments down below, and join us over on Demand and the website for more videos and goodies, and keep an eye out over here on Freeview for the battle report. If you've not gone and watched it already, go and check that out. Yes. It's going to be a doozy.
Enjoy Chaos Week. We put a lot of effort into this week. We wanted to celebrate this book because it's been a long time coming. Tutorials, the extra videos, extra battle reports, the articles. It's all on there.
It's all there.
It's all on there.
It's all for the taking, as a Chaos Warband war leader should. Yes. Take it, for you are strong now. But until next time, I have been... No, I'm not an acolyte. I'm sorcerer chef.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cheferer.
Yes.
And you are, of course, Chaos Lord Beard, soon ascending to demonhood, I suspect.
I certainly hope so.
You have all been bosses, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.